Welcome to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast, where every week, Kirsten and Jeanne dive into the essential topics to fuel your business growth. From copywriting to course creation, mindset to video marketing, they've got you covered. Tune in for expert guest interviews on all things marketing and business, and learn how to work on your business, not just in it. So, get ready to unlock your business potential and take it to the next level.
Welcome, everyone, to our newest episode. We are thrilled that you decided to join us today. And we are thrilled to have a special guest. Her name is Cheryl Piceu. Her company is David Allen Capital, and she has a very rich and interesting history as to how she ended up there. So welcome, Cheryl. We're excited to talk to you today.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So Cheryl, I am so excited. You're here in Florida with me. We met out networking. So I know that you have a very interesting story about becoming an entrepreneur at the age of 13. So why don't we start there? Tell people a little bit about you and why you're so passionate about business owners.
Absolutely, yes. I was a little country bumpkin, and I belonged to 4-H. And I think a lot of people know what 4-H is. And I wasn't in the animals and that, but I was in knitting and cake decorating. My mom was a former cake decorator. I just took up cake decorating and I absolutely loved it. And I won grand champion at the fair. And with it, a huge gift certificate for the Willson cake store. And I bought absolutely everything wedding. I had fountains, I had everything I needed. Way back then, I had a very successful business. And by the age of 16, I had enough money to pay cash for a used Camaro. That was a big thing for me. But yeah, I spent my childhood decorating cakes, which was disastrous. I also taught the other 4-H kids, and it was an absolute disaster. But that's how I started. So I've always been an entrepreneur.
I love that. And I think it's so interesting. Like, how cool were you to have the Camaro at 16, right?
Yes.
How good did it feel to buy that car with your own money, knowing that you had successfully built a business? And I'm sure all the brides loved your cakes, and that gave you so much personal gratification. So how did all that feel for you?
It was amazing. It was proof back then that we can set our minds to anything and become a success story, because it really isn't easy. Entrepreneurs, we are a different kind of people. We just are.
Jeanne and I laugh. I used to collect shoes. I used to be that person that had 250 pair of shoes. Now we collect domain names. So it's crazy. We've got lots of businesses and started lots of businesses over the years. And I know that's your story too. But because of the hurricane, you did something interesting while we were all kind of tucked in the house with this last hurricane. Tell everybody what you did and how that made you feel.
I used to hide the fact that I really have dabbled in everything. I was a legal secretary, and I sat in offices where I took a 100-page brief. And yes, I could decipher it. I sold new medical technology, and I actually was part of Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit when they started the robotic surgery program. And I was in everybody's operating room meeting and educating patients and learned about that. And then I moved on to regional sales manager for a big food company in Detroit and Chicago market. And there I was doing that. And I thought, wow, Cheryl, it doesn't look good that you are doing all this stuff. And then I was set free. I was set free when I saw one of the famous astrologer. She had a look at your birth chart. And I'm telling you, I am just a totally different person now. So it said, a restless quest for knowledge and experience may mean you change careers often. You collect professions like others hoard designer shoes. Oh, yes, I do.
Definitely one of our people, right, Jeanne? She's in our
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now. I know you ended up caring for your mom, and that kind of led you to this new career of helping business owners get the funding that they need to build the businesses of their dream. So tell us a little bit about your journey into helping business owners with capital.
I've always known a lot of people who owned small businesses. When I was in Michigan taking care of my mother, she has her angel wings now, so I'm actually grateful that I spent the time with her. But there was a silver lining, so I begged her not to go back to Michigan, and she did. I was in Chicago at the time. When she moved, she had a stroke. So I was in rural Michigan helping her for 4 years, but I found David Allen Capital there. I wasn't able to do anything full time, but I found David Allen Capital. And when I met the founder, I knew him from other people that have accomplished amazing things. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. So David Allen Capital has been around since 2015, and I joined in 2018. It's nice to help businesses not only save money, but access capital when the banks and the SBA cannot help them. That is the number one reason why small businesses go out of business is lack of working capital.
I think it's so amazing because when you were in rural Michigan with your mom, you still had a lot of friends that owned businesses too. So that's how you saw the need and started looking for a solution to help them. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
I think when you've been a business owner, you see the problems that other business owners have because you've been there yourself. So tell us a little bit about some of the businesses that you've worked with to help them gain the capital that they needed and how that helped them grow their businesses.
I've helped business consolidate. They had other fundings out there and they wanted to purchase another location. I helped with that. And then another, like a restaurant owner in this space, the money is more costly than money from a traditional bank. And we do represent all of the top providers out there. So we do get the best deals, but still some of the money can be pricey because you never know what is in somebody's financial records. To help, we can never prejudge a business. There was a business in Michigan that wanted to add a patio, and the money was ridiculously expensive. But you never do not present an offer because you just never know. It was presented, and she's like, absolutely, I'll do this. And it increased sales so much by having that patio open. It was paid off. It's amazing. And so that's what we do.
It is interesting because if you can't get an SBA loan or a loan through a bank, then the interest rates are higher than a normal loan for a business owner. Sometimes you do have to pay to play. And if you have the ability to know, you said that patio, if that patio is going to increase revenue exponentially, and she has a good profit margin on her restaurant, then she can definitely pay that loan off. And I think that's just about understanding how the investment that you're making into your business, what is the return on investment going to be? Sometimes you do have to pay a bit of a higher interest rate in order to get the money that you need. And I think that, Jeanne and I both living debt-free is the dream, right? Debt-free and not having debt is so important to us. But at the same time, sometimes you do need capital to get your business to the next level, or you may need to borrow money to buy a house or a car. You can't always pay cash for things. And so I do feel like business owners should always explore the option of capital and then make the decision if it's the right move. And it really does depend on, like you said, even if it's a higher rate, what is the return on investment? And in some cases, it's a hard no, but in other cases, it's the best way to go. So I love that story.
That's what we are in the business of doing. And we passed a major milestone, $500 million in funding. And the average funding amount was $40,000. Small amounts like that can help a business hire another employee or purchase a marketing company to help them as well.
So do you help clients figure out how much money they need for their expansion? Or is that something they do and then come to you and say, I need this much?
This is how this space is different. The alternative capital space is different. It's based on revenue. So they can come to us and say, I need $1 million. But if they're only bringing in $20,000 a month, we can't do that for them. And that happens. So we have to educate them on the difference in this space. It's usually a percentage of their income. Sometimes if everything else is good, we can get 2 times what their monthly revenue is. So that's how this works.
Do you feel like a lot of businesses don't grow because they're afraid to have conversations about capital?
100%. I think the biggest problem is business owners work so hard and they're hit with something new every day. They work in their business, but not on their business. They really don't have the time. What happens so frequently is lines of credit. And for example, what's going on right now, businesses are getting hit and they're not going to have income coming in. If they would have had a line of credit in place, they would have access to capital because they need it right now. So that's why it's important. And it's important for us to get out there and educate business owners. Leave a card and just say, if the need arises, I need to do that.
That's funny because I heard a long time ago that the best time to borrow money is when you don't need the money. So in other words, set up that line of credit when you don't necessarily need it. So you have it there for the rainy day, or if you have an expansion opportunity that comes to you rather quickly. So is that something you do? You help business owners proactively set up lines of credit so that they have the money available for emergencies or for expansion?
Yes, absolutely. I can do that. And I have had so many heartbreaking conversations with business owners that I had previously talked to, and they're like, oh my gosh, I need money now. And they've had a downturn. And since this is revenue based, I mean, that's what our lenders are looking at, and I can't help them. If there are some businesses that I can't do a line of credit for, but the ones that I can, if they're qualifying, I mean, it makes all kinds of sense. And again, case in point, what we're living right now, so many businesses need money and they're not going to be able to access it.
And what Cheryl's talking about is Hurricane Helena. We are both in Sarasota, Florida, and luckily we didn't have any wind or rain damage, but we had water, like tide surges, which actually ended up taking out a lot of the businesses on our islands and a lot of homes. And I do know that the Columbia said they're not going to reopen in St. Armand Circle. So that was very
I love that place.
Me too.
There's an update on that one. That one, they are going to open because I love that place too. And I just saw somebody posted, he said, no, they're just going to be closed for a little while.
That is awesome.
That's great news.
It is so crazy because you don't really think about when there's a natural catastrophe like the hurricane, is you don't think about all of your wait staff is out of work. I saw a post the other day talking about, hey, there's 250 of us that worked at businesses that have been wiped out. And so we're all looking for employment. So if you know of anyone, again, for an employer, if you want to keep your wait staff in this example, because you are going to open the restaurant up in the future, you may want to find a way that you can cover some of their income so that they're ready to come back to you when the restaurant does reopen. So I think that's another advantage to having money available when things like this do happen. I love the fact that you are being an entrepreneur and having your own businesses over the years. And now you're in a position where you get to sit down with business owners, talk about their situation, their goals and their dreams for their business, and then help them find a solution that can help them get there. So how do you want people to reach out and get in touch with you?
They can reach me on my cell phone. I kept my Michigan number. It is 248-996-3210. And my main link for the David Allen Capital Funding is www.floridadac.com.
Perfect. We'll have people reach out to you.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. This has been amazing, enlightening, and optimistic.
Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in person when we're all dining at the Columbia on St. Armand's.
That sounds perfect. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode and you are ready to leverage video marketing on all online platforms, or maybe even start your own video podcast, then you need to check out the Done For You and Done With You program at themarketingvaadvantage.com and take your business to the next level.